the forgotten sound that healed before medicine. Before medicine, before pyramids, before the idea of healing even existed, there was a sound. Not a sound made by mouths, not a sound written in books, but a vibration that moved through silence and shaped the cosmos. They called it Hu. He wasn't a myth. He wasn't a symbol. Hu was a god, the breath of Ra, the sacred word that didn't describe reality, it created it. And that same vibration has been waiting inside you this whole time. Long before we sought medicine, long before we named our suffering, Hu was already healing, not by fighting symptoms, not by fixing the body, but by realigning the soul. This is not a mantra. This is not Reiki. This is not technique. This is remembrance, a return to the frequency that formed you. Hu is the sacred technology of the ancients, the lost code that brings the nervous system into peace, the heart into coherence, and the energy field into truth. You don't have to believe, you just have to feel, because when Hu enters your breath, the healing begins, not outside, but deep within. Chapter 1. Hu, the god of healing through frequency. In the sacred cosmology of ancient Egypt, there was a god who didn't rule with fire or force, but with sound. His name was Hu. He wasn't worshipped in grand temples. He didn't sit on a throne, because Hu didn't need to be seen. He only needed to be felt. He was the voice of creation, the sacred vibration that turned thought into matter and silence into life. When Ra imagined, Hu gave it breath, and reality began to vibrate, not with noise, but with order, with harmony, with healing. Hu didn't fix the broken. He restored the original code, the perfect frequency each being was born to carry. He didn't erase pain. He realigned the field until pain had no more place to stay. That's why the ancients didn't chant Hu for ceremony. They chanted Hu for remembrance. Because when the soul hears this sound, it doesn't learn something new. It remembers what it always was. Hu is not just a name. Hu is a vibration that reorganizes everything it touches, from the breath to the body to the soul. Chapter 2. The Lost Medicine of Vibration. Before healing became external, before we turned to herbs, hands, and words, there was something deeper, something older. The ancients knew, disease is not the enemy. It's a signal, a sound that has gone out of tune. They didn't ask, "What's wrong with you?" They asked, "What stopped resonating with who you really are?" And for that, they had only one remedy: vibration. Not chemicals, not control, just the sacred act of bringing the body back into harmony with the soul's original tone. They believed that every organ, every emotion, every thought carried its own frequency. And when those frequencies slipped out of alignment, the body began to suffer. Not as punishment, but as a call to remember. Hu was that remembrance. A vibration so pure, so ancient, so intelligent, that when it was breathed with intention, the entire field began to respond. The body softened, the breath deepened, the energy reorganized, not through effort, but through resonance. Hu didn't target the pain. It didn't fight the imbalance. It simply restored what was true. And when truth returns, healing is automatic. Chapter 3. How Hu Heals, the spiritual science behind the sound. Modern science is just beginning to glimpse what the ancients already knew, that the body is not just flesh and blood, it is frequency, that the nervous system is not just electrical, it is musical, and that healing does not begin with force, but with vibration. When Hu is chanted with presence, it doesn't just echo through the lungs, it moves through the chest. It vibrates in the bones. It activates the field. Science calls it the vagus nerve, a powerful channel connecting the breath, the heart, and the brain. But the mystics had no name for it. They only knew that when Hu entered the breath, the body entered a deeper rhythm. Heart rate slowed, thoughts quieted, the field softened. Because Hu didn't come to fix the body, it came to recalibrate the soul. And when the soul returns to its original frequency, the body follows. Wounds begin to close. Tension dissolves. Energy flows again. This is not superstition. This is the architecture of vibration. Because healing isn't something you create. It's something you allow when your field finally remembers who you are. Chapter 4. Vibrational Healing. How Hu awakens the body's intelligence. Not all wounds are visible. Not all pain speaks. But the body always remembers. Even when the mind forgets, the cells hold the memory of fear, of suppression, of things that were never said but always felt. This is why healing can't come from the surface. It has to rise from the inside, from the field. And Hu is the vibration that reaches that depth, not because it's loud, but because it's pure. When you breathe Hu with awareness, you're not asking for healing. You're giving your body permission to remember how to heal itself. Because the truth is, your body was never broken. It was only waiting for the signal, the right tone, the original frequency. Hu doesn't force change. It creates coherence. It realigns the energy field, releasing what the body can no longer hold. Inflammation softens. Nervous tension unwinds. Organs begin to function with new intelligence. And all of this happens without effort. Because Hu doesn't work like medicine. It works like a mirror. It doesn't fix what's wrong. It reveals what's real. And when what's real returns to the surface, the body knows what to do. Because the body was designed to regenerate, to restore, to return to its original frequency when the soul is ready. And Hu is the sound that tells the soul, it's time. Chapter 5. Physical regeneration through energetic realignment. The body is not just a machine, it's a memory field, a living instrument, tuned by the frequencies it receives and detuned by the noise it carries. When we fall out of harmony, the body doesn't attack us, it signals. It whispers, "This is not your true rhythm." But when we ignore the signal for too long, the whispers become symptoms, and the symptoms become suffering, not as punishment, but as a call to return. Hu is not a cure. Hu is the return. A return to order, to clarity, to the sacred pulse that once guided the breath of life itself. When Hu moves through your field, it doesn't target the pain. It reorganizes the pattern, the underlying blueprint, the energetic map that tells your body how to heal. Because you were never meant to deteriorate. You were meant to regenerate. Not by effort, but by alignment. Hu restores that alignment. It brings your breath, your heart, your cells into a single coherent rhythm. A rhythm that the immune system recognizes. A rhythm that inflammation cannot survive. A rhythm that activates the codes of repair. You don't need to fight the disease. You don't need to understand every imbalance. You simply need to vibrate at the frequency where healing becomes natural again. Because Hu doesn't just raise your vibration, it brings you back to the one you were born with, the one your body still remembers. Chapter 6. The Practice of Hu. Recalibrating yourself back to wholeness. You don't need to be spiritual. You don't need to understand ancient texts. You don't even need to believe in anything. You only need to breathe and be willing to remember. Because Hu is not a sound you learn. It's a sound you release, a vibration already inside you, waiting for permission to rise. Here's how to begin. Find stillness, a quiet space, not to escape the world, but to return to yourself. Sit with your spine upright, not stiff, but open, so the energy can move freely, so your breath can become sacred again. Close your eyes, not to block out light, but to awaken your inner vision. Because hue is not heard with ears, it's felt with presence. Now inhale slowly through your nose. Feel the air expand your chest, your belly, your entire inner space. Hold for a moment, just enough to feel the silence between the breaths. Then exhale with the sound. Hue. Let it vibrate in your chest. Let it move downward. Let it echo inside your bones. Don't force it. Don't try to sound perfect. Hue is not about performance. It's about coherence. Breathe, chant, and feel. Repeat for 7 minutes. Not because it's magical, but because that's how long it takes for your system to quiet and your soul to speak. After the final breath, don't rush back into noise. Just stay in the silence, in the stillness, in the new vibration you've just activated. Because healing doesn't happen while you chant. It happens in the silence that follows. That's where hue becomes not just a sound, but a presence. Final chapter. You were always the temple. You weren't broken. You were just out of tune. You weren't lost. You were simply vibrating in a rhythm that didn't belong to you. And now, the tone is returning. You're not chanting who anymore. Who is chanting through you? You feel it in your breath, in your presence, in the silence between words. It's no longer just a sound. It's a field, a pulse, a remembering. You walk differently. You listen differently. People feel something shift when you enter the room, even if they don't know why. Because who is no longer something you practice. It's something you become. This is not about fixing your life. It's about vibrating in a way that makes anything misaligned dissolve on its own. This is coherence. This is return. This is healing. You don't need to chase the light. You are the tone it responds to. Because the temple you were searching for was always your breath, your presence, your soul. And now that who is awaken you, you'll never forget how it feels to be whole. The activation begins now. If who touched something inside you, if even for a moment you felt lighter, more whole, more you, then write this in the comments. Who is vibrating through me? Not as a phrase, but as a signal, a vibrational anchor, a declaration to your field, that you're ready to remember who you've always been. And if your breath feels different now, if your silence feels alive, then don't stop here. There's another step waiting for you. Click on the next video, the one right here on the screen, and I'll meet you there to go even deeper into the healing sound that never left you.